Boom. All right, what's up, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to talk to you about when I personally plan on loading up on a few of my favorite long-term stocks in the entire market. Those stocks, of course, being Bitcoin miners. Obviously, we're going to be talking about a few of my favorites today, which I know are many of your favorites as well. Those three are Riot Blockchain, Marathon Digital Holdings, and Bitfarms. We'll take a look at these three on the charts in this order, talk some technicals, talk some of my downside price targets, and as we do that, I also want to briefly go over a few scenarios that I see playing out for crypto equities as we progress through 2022. Okay, so short and sweet today, you guys. Next to that, I also have this tab that quickly covers Mars earnings date. Okay, so at least this is according to NASDAQ. When it comes to these earnings date estimates, sometimes they can be off, as many of you know, by a week, maybe even 2 weeks. But the reason I want to bring this up is just to let you guys know when I think we could start to see at least Bitcoin miners turning around. Okay, so Mars earnings date is scheduled for March 15th. Of course, when Mara announces earnings, usually other Bitcoin miners do as well. That's not just Mara for others, but Riot. When subsectors announce earnings, they're typically around the same time, okay, or at least generally. So Riot, Mara, and Bitfarms in this case do all announce earnings around the same time. Again, give or take a week or two, but we will just say mid to late March. All three of these companies are going to be announcing earnings, and obviously the price of Bitcoin, the spot price of Bitcoin, will heavily impact the forecasts and outlooks of these earnings. But just because these stocks, all three of these, have gotten so ravaged, I do think it's very likely and very possible that we do see these start to turn around for earnings, or come earnings time, I guess. But until then, when it comes to the short term, when it comes to closing out the rest of February, I still lean very bearish. I do still think the macroeconomic climate, technicals, fundamentals all point to more downside, and do favor the bears. There we go. So I am staying on my toes, but I do just want to let you guys know that when it comes to a little more medium-term time horizons, I do think that that earnings come mid to late March do have the potential to really start turning things around, at least for these Bitcoin miners. Okay, so before we dive into the charts, I want to let you guys know that I am only going to start recording I'm going to start posting 3 public videos a week instead of 4 to 5. Okay, so Wednesdays are now going to be for the exclusive Waves midweek recap. This will be sent out to the Discord group and the newsletter via a private link. And on Sundays, obviously, there is the exclusive Sunday stock watch that will also go to the newsletter and Discord group. All right. Again, you guys, this is a slow season, so I'm gonna keep the more structured videos, I guess, kind of like more specific videos to just a few videos a week. But the Waves midweek recap, we go over a lot of names, just kind of rapid fire style. So those are really fun to make, a little more casual, and Sunday stock watch is obviously getting ready for the week ahead, which is always fun too. So if you guys are interested in those exclusive links and also a complete breakdown, obviously, of my entire portfolio, you want to know how I'm trading through what is going to be volatile times, you guys, there's always a bull market somewhere. Markets were down today, but my personal portfolio was green. So if you want to know how I'm doing that and how I will continue to do that, and exactly when I go on to buy established long-term positions, call options even in Riot, Mara, Bitfarms, Coinbase, a lot of other plays, all the plays we always talk about. Check this out, you guys. On top of that, you also receive my daily newsletter. We'll read a little bit of the intro right after this, but that is going to be the first link down below. $15 a month, $40 for every 3 months, completely up to you. Do my best to make that worth your guys' hard-earned money. And again, this is every day. YouTube videos are now only going to be coming public 3 times a week. But again, every day here for you guys, here for the OGs, here for the real ones of the Waves fam. So I appreciate you sticking with me through even the slow times, through the boring times. But hey, this is when generational wealth is made. So these are more important times than ever, at least in my opinion. And again, go check out the Discord, active in here every single day. One of the best investing communities in the game. That is $10 a month, so go check that out. That link is going to be down below as well if you're interested. Let's get back into this, you guys. But again, before we dive into that, let's read a few, just a few short sentences here, because I do just, they kind of summarize my thoughts on what's going on in the markets right now. Technicals always manage to bring themselves to fruition. It's strange how many times I've had a bullish or bearish hunch based upon technicals, and by some coincidence, a fundamental catalyst will perfectly follow. Nature has a beautiful way of restoring balance, and that principle is equally as applicable to the markets. Right now, the scale is still tipped too far to the upside. In my mind, there's no chance this correction is over yet. Tesla puts a printing today, and I'm excited for our other hedges short plays have to offer. Let's eat, team. Okay. So again, you guys, there is always a bull market somewhere. This is more applicable, or I should say, when I was writing this was more geared towards the equity indices, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, which are a little, are still obviously have not gotten as torn down as Bitcoin miners like Riot, Mara, and Bitfarms. So that is to say, I do think that there is the potential as well, on top of earnings, on top of just small caps beginning their recovery. I do think there is the potential for, for large caps, as large caps continue to correct, as mega caps continue to correct, capital will flow out of those mega caps and potentially into more beaten down subsectors of the market like Bitcoin miners. So I'm staying optimistic, you guys. Once again, when it comes to the medium term, I still believe, because I still believe Bitcoin has more short-term downside ahead of it. There still needs to be more correction for me, at least, to believe that we will start going sideways and onto more upside, which I do think is what's going to happen to honestly these Bitcoin miners as well. Unless we do see a turnaround, unless they crush earnings, which is always possible, I do think it's more likely than not. And this kind of does get into what I see playing out over the course of the medium term. I'll just say medium term because I'm talking about over the next quarter or two, going into later 2022. I honestly think that we will be trading in a sideways range for at least a few months, you guys. That's just how historically how things work. And I will say right off the bat, I've been saying this, and I believe it the more I think about it. Things are going to happen faster. I don't think a crypto bear market, a crypto winter, is going to last 2-3 years like it has in the past, even going out to 4 years. I do think the markets are more efficient now than they've ever been. Things move faster than they ever have in the past. And although I do think it won't be in and out, I don't think, even if these earnings are good, I don't think we'll whipsaw right back to new all-time highs in the next quarter or two. But I do think that we will recover faster than we have in the past. I don't think we will see 4 years of just sideways range price action. But I do think this will take a little while. But again, that said, I do think we'll recover faster than we ever have in the past. Whether that's 3 quarters, whether that's 4 quarters, whether that's a year and a half, I don't know. But I don't think it's going to be nearly as long as it has been in the past. So just keep that in mind as well. Anyway, 2 downside price targets. You guys can, I mean, this has been in front of you pretty much the whole time. You guys already know what my downside price target here is. My downside price target, as I've been saying, for Riot Blockchain is going to be around $11.50 to $12. The reason for that, and the same principle that's going to apply to all 3 of these, in Bitcoin and so many other names that I'm going to be making videos similar to this on over the coming days, is going to be a reversion to the mean, or a revisit of the initial high of the rally. In Riot's case, that is going to be around here at like $11.36. So if we reversion to the mean, again, revisit of the initial high of the rally. When Riot started ripping, these were some of the most exciting times on the channel, you guys. Let me know down below if you guys were here for these times, or when we were covering Riot all the way. But like, this is how long we've been covering Riot, you guys. Since Riot was around $1, like $1 to $2, that's how long we've been covering Riot. So let me know if you guys are a day one Waves fan in the comments below. And yeah, those are fun times, man. But in that very, very exciting period from November to December, when Riot went from like $3-4 bucks to a high of $11, over a 2x in the span of a month or so, that is what I consider to be the initial high of the rally. You can even go up here, 11.80, 12 bucks. I'll personally say that once and if, I'm gonna always got to include the caveat of if Riot sees $12, that's where I'll personally begin loading up shares. And yeah, that's going to be my range. Again, you guys, reversion to the mean, played a lot of these hype cycles in the past. That's kind of just my niche as a trader, I would say, is playing these hype cycles, playing these bull markets, playing these bell curve rallies like we talked about in the last video I just posted. So a reversion to the mean, again, a revisit of the initial high is almost always the case. I can't recall ever not seeing that happen in these bull bear cycles. So I do think that Riot needs to see at least $12 before this correction is officially over. And hey, again, because I love Riot, I believe in this company for the long term. I believe in all three of these companies for the long term. I'm absolutely pumped to see this because I'm optimizing the amount of shares I hold by hopefully holding out until we see a full correction. And again, following these corrections, you guys, sentiment has changed. It takes a long time for the pessimism to fade and the optimism to come back. So we are not, or at least I should say it's very unlikely that we just whipsaw back to the upside, slingshot back to the upside. Usually we trade sideways in a range. That is the winter. And again, I don't think it's going to be 3 years. I can see it being maybe 3 quarters to a year and a half. That's just my kind of general guesstimate on that. So, I do think we have some time. Don't freak out if we see $12 come back up, because we'll probably trade in a range of like mid to high teens for quite a while. And then the next bull run's going to come, and that's when we'll hopefully finally freaking see some triple digits for Riot Blockchain. Okay, so that's Riot. Let's move on to Mara. Good old Miss Mara. If it loads, there we go. So Mara is going to be, I'm sorry, I didn't even address the trend line, but reversion to the mean does perfectly coincide with this downtrend on Riot. You can see boom, boom, line of resistance broke above it, retested as support. Previous resistance becomes new support. We're currently dancing right on top of that at the time of recording. 22222, February 22nd, 2022. If we do just kind of stay on this general trend line, which Riot has definitely been following, on March 4th, that would take us to about 1150, which is once again that 1150 to $12 price target. Anyway, Mara, similar trend line right now. Obviously a similar trend to Riot. So Mara is still in a very, very stark downtrend. Again, the higher you climb, the harder you fall. The same way physics work in reality. Obviously, the markets are part of reality. Same way physics work in life. Physics will work in the markets as well. Higher you climb, the harder you fall. And Mara has definitely a further way to fall than Riot. So Mara, same story here, right? Same story, different chart. Mara also has to revert to the mean again mid-December, the 20s of December 2020. Mara's initial high was about $14.50. Therefore, I do think Mara needs to revisit that area once again prior to really starting that sideways price action, that crypto winter, that boring sideways price action for again 3 quarters plus. But I do think that mid-March is where a lot of my, early to mid-March is where a lot of my targets, not only for these, but cryptos and the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, all kind of come to play, are all kind of coming to pinnacles and apexes of trend lines. So I do think that by early to mid-March, Mara will see this $14.50 to $15 price target, and that's exactly where I plan on starting to load up on Miss Mara. Let's close it out with Bitfarms. Bitfarms is a little different because it went public, at least on the NASDAQ. It was OTC for a long time. We're following it for OTC for a little bit, but it went public, absolutely went parabolic after going public. But I do think Bitfarms Bitfarms solid company, obviously a lot more volume once it went public. It's a very, very easy to tell where Bitfarms went public on the NASDAQ was right here, because the volume prior to that is nothing compared to what we're seeing now. But Bitfarms, I do still think has some reversion to the mean to go. There is a very, very strong floor around here, you can see, which we have already tested on the previous low back here in, what was that, mid to late January. But again, you guys, in the case that Bitcoin sees 30K, 2830K, which I do believe it will, in the case that the equity markets continue to falter, which I believe they will, Bitcoin miners are a combination, but an amplified combination of what the equity markets, what the equity indices, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and Bitcoin do, ×2 a lot of the time. So I do think Bitfarms will come down a little bit more. I do think that, again, same December 20th to New Year's of 2021. The high we saw over here, just kind of this general area, was about $2.50. So I do think that it's pretty likely, again, in the case that Bitcoin continues to fall, that Bitfarms does see $2.50. It's as low as $2.25, but at $2.50, that is a level that I'd personally be very comfortable picking up Bitfarms. And yeah, again, you guys, eyes on the prize, eyes on the long term. If I'm being completely honest, the levels we're at right now, if you think Riot is going to be $100 one day and you just want to set it and forget it, right now, 15, 16 bucks, it's a pretty ideal time to buy, right? Again, if you think it's triple digits, that leaves a lot of room for growth. That's over over 5x from here if you think it's going to be $100 one day. So if you want to just set it, forget it, if you want to not worry, which is for a lot of people, that's perfectly fine. I think these are great levels. I'll always hold, which I do right now. And again, you guys, that's important to recognize. I do still hold positions in all of these. Granted, they're a lot smaller than they once were, but always holding positions. And at this point, it's just me trying to optimize for the long term by accumulating as many shares as I possibly can with the downside price targets that I believe will come to fruition. Okay, so just little disclaimer there to close out the video. Let me know in the comments down below what you think the future holds for Bitcoin miners. For Coinbase, Coinbase is announcing earnings on Thursday. That should be exciting. So yeah, just let me know what you guys are thinking about crypto equities, about the crypto space overall right now. If you guys are excited to bag up, if you think we're turning around from here, or if you think these downside price targets are accurate. Always look forward to hearing your guys' take in the comments. So catch you guys downstairs, and until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.